Part 5. Why are these children's classics classics? Why are they timeless? Why do we see more movies of these things? And why? And here's me trying to answer. Part 5. 5. Unscripted, unedited. Part 5. I. I. This is crazy big, and I don't know if anyone's gonna watch this or follow all the way through, but I don't care. I don't mind. It's just kind of fun just to say this, just to analyze and talk, because this is one thing I love to do, and not that many people like to listen this long or have the patience to do this much and talk and conversation, but I can't help but like doing this because it's a pretty good event, but it's also pretty good to just acknowledge these classics and try to figure out why. Why are these things so immortal? And we just finished the subset of Jungle Book Secret Garden of the Little Princess. Part 1, 2, Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, and Part 4. All were around there, and they had their subject of being of two worlds, and there's connection to India and death. Well, I think death is throughout all these books. I mean, really, it's amazing how death is in these children's classics. And to go on, we have another relationship duo between two books of a genre, and the theme is actually kind of smaller, but it's there, and it's these two books, Treasure Island and Peter Pan. And unlike all the other books, there's more of a marriage between Peter Pan and Treasure Island. I am not kidding. When you read one book and the other at the same time, or close to close, back to back, you'll notice that there is more of a share. They're more sharing with each other. And you can tell that Peter Pan came after Treasure Island. So we'll do Treasure Island first. And in Treasure Island, the formula of teacher, student, and class is kind of acknowledged that, yeah, it's here. Yeah, we're doing it. And yeah, I'm going to put it on its head. Treasure Island is by Robert Lewis Stevenson. The man who did Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde also did Treasure Island. And Treasure Island is very unique with the formula. It's very unique in its storytelling. It's very unique with its lore. Because it deals with a lot and shows you what a child can learn and what we adults can learn. But also, there's this... When we look through these children's classics, we see that there's some books like A Little Princess, where you won't recognize characters' names. But books like Treasure Island, one name will stand out. One name is rooted to this book, and that name is Long John Silver. But this book, you can't help but see why. Because Long John Silver, the one-legged pirate, how can this man be so threatening? How can this man be so iconic? And it's through this book, and you find out that this man is well worth it to know why he is such a big name in literature and in being a villain, or I think more like an anti-hero gray character. And that is, he's the only name we really recognize. The captain and characters are very... not as memorable, but they are there, and they have their purpose. But with Treasure Island, what makes this book set off? What does make this book stand out so much is this, I think, this hidden lore it has. Like Jungle Book, there's this hidden plot. With Jungle Book, it is the law of the jungle. Read the beginning of this thing and you'll get that. Well, not fully, but understandably. In Treasure Island, there's this hidden lore that is very close to the root, and that is there was this raiding pirate by the name of Captain Flint, if I remember right. And he was going around raiding and taking treasure and going to this one island. He would deposit. He would use it like a bank. He'll steal, rob, go over, put it there, take a small piece, go buy, do whatever, then come back and raid and add on, make it bigger and bigger and bigger. And pretty soon there was a whole lot of money, and he grew suspicious out of his own crew. So he gathered his men together and kept few alive. Everyone else he killed. He murdered his men, and this is part of the lore of the story of Treasure Island. This man murdered his crew and kept few alive. One of them was Long John Silver, the man that was in charge of... Oh, dang it, I am not good at remembering these naval terms or military terms, but I think he was the man that trained fighters. He was a one-legged man, and yet he taught people how to fight. He taught people how to shoot. And you have another man who was kind of, I think, more in charge of... Dang it. But there was like 4 men that were spared. But the reason why these men were spared and everyone else, that Captain Flint killed everyone else, because these 4 men didn't know how to read a map. And so of the 4 men, one of them was kicked off, left on the island. And so Flint gets these 3 remaining guys, comes and leaves them, and Captain Flint dies of alcoholism. This is this hidden story of Treasure Island. And Long John Silver wants that money back. He wants that gold. He wants those riches and wealth. But he doesn't know how to read a map. He needs to find the map. Who took the map? Well, one of the guy I can't remember, the guy that... He is what kind of kicked off our book. He is the man that goes to our main characters, and he lives there. He pays off. He just stays there just to get drunk. And what happens is Long John's men finds him and goes, "Hey, where's that map?" And he's like, "I'm not gonna tell you. Hey, little boy, things are gonna happen. Please don't do anything rash or dumb, and keep this safe." Long John Silver's men come, kill that guy. So the boy's like, "What the heck do I have?" Finds the nearest adult, and from there the story begins. The adult's like, "This is a treasure map, and let's get a captain." We get a captain, we get a boat, and we go sail off, and that's the event. And that's the main adventure to Treasure Island. And again, how does Treasure Island go? Follow the formula, and that is teacher, student, and class. This is where I think Treasure Island is at its best, is with this formula. Because what happens is the class, when the boy's on this ship, is this group of friends. The captain of the ship, the scientist that he befriends, this duke, I think it's a duke or a count, one of the two, I don't know that much of English hierarchy and how it goes, but our main character, boy. And what happens is the boy outshines them time and time again, and the villain, Long John Silver, and his crew, the crew constantly get bested by this boy. But Long John Silver, before he shows his true colors, kind of helps our main character. He goes, "Yeah, you're pretty good." And you kind of go, "Wait a minute. Long John Silver is going to be the teacher of the student formula. He's going to be the teacher. Our main character's the student. Everyone else is under the class." The kid outshines all the heroes. But when they get to the island, Long John when Long John usurps the ship and takes it all, it almost shows, okay, he's the bad guy, but yet he still gives the boy teaching moments. And then outside of that, when they go to the island, crap hits the fan, and the boy again thwarts Long John's small army. And what happens from there? Treasure Island is. This could be a long one, or I may split this into two parts because there's so much going on. I mean, that's just the story, but how it relates to the formula is very weird. Because, again, Long John is this villain. The boy learns from the villain, but yet the villain usurps and takes, and then the boy is left with the class. And the boy outshines them, he thwarts, he is basically the main hero, constantly. But when Long John comes on in, he's the one that can beat the boy. And when the boy's in trouble and has no choice but to go to Long John for help, Long John helps the kid. And in return, the kid helps Long John. It's like, what Long John, he's more about is compromise. That there's, between black and white, there's gray. And he is that gray. He actually helps the kid, but yet, when everything's going bad on the island, Long John goes, okay, kid, I'll help you, but he still has one foot. He has one foot helping with the hero, but yet he has another foot with his crew. And it is intense how he can actually manipulate people. And that's kind of how he won the ship. There was men loyal to our good guys, but after Long John is revealed and he talks and coerces and manipulates them, a crew what was like 50-50 goes 75-25, all for Long John. The man is a manipulator. The man is quite the master at taking over and using his environment, knowing how to read people to his advantage. He can read a situation and adjust it, and he has dealt with a mutiny with this crew 2 times on the island, and both times, the first time he did it easily, the second time he needed the boy's help. And he puts the boy in a conundrum where the boy has no choice but to be with Long John. And once it goes in favor with Long John being the bad guy, the boy's like, oh crap, but yet there's a chance he will be a good guy as well. And you can't help but be wowed about how the Long John character is such a oddly written character. And how that he is this gray, that we have to learn compromise, that we have to learn that there's people that are like that can read the situation and put it in their advantage, if it's good for ill. As long as it's good for them, they have it. And it's kind of unnerving. You're like, come on, man, I thought we were buds. Or, come on, man, why? And why am I mentioning about these mutinies? And why this relationship between Long John and the reader is so important? Well, Peter Pan mimics this a bit with Captain Hook. And you can't have Captain Hook and talk about Long John Silver, because when you read these books, Long John's is his real name, but he has a pirate name called Barbecue. And Barbecue is mentioned in Peter Pan. And you just can't but go, wait, what? Long John exists in Peter Pan, and Long John is scared of nothing in Treasure Island, but in Peter Pan it mentions Long John is scared of one other man, and that is Captain Hook. And I have to go in deep into Long John to go in deep with Captain Hook and Peter Pan, because these two are actually more hand in hand than you realize. And I need to go into Long John so we can get that. And Jungle Book, this may be... There's a whole lot going on in Treasure Island, and right now, just going over the synopsis, and the lore is just crazy. We are going to get in more into the lines of what the formula and how Lewis Stevenson used the formula at the beginning, but then on the island everything changes. So this is part 5 right now, ending. Sorry guys. Part 6, going through Treasure Island, is going to be next time.